Good morning. Welcome to this webinar on putting quality into maternal health medicines. I am Milka Dinev and I work for the Reproductive Health Supplies Coalition. I work both for the LAC Forum as well as for the Maternal Health Supplies Caucus. This webinar has been organized under the auspices of the Maternal Health Supplies Caucus. We're having a very interesting panel this afternoon for you in Europe with Fiona Theunissen, Fabienne Bochaton, both from Concept Foundation, Henk den Besten, from Henk is currently a private consultant, and then we also have the participation of Rohini Kardi and Nancy Shoemaker. All their names and their organizations are on the slide in front of you. You have all been muted by the system in order to avoid background noise. However, we will have a question and answer period after the presentations. Please write down your questions. In your screen, you will see a window where it says questions. You can start writing them there as the presentations progress. Once the presentation ends, our panelists will be answering these questions. The webinar is being recorded, and both the video and audio of this seminar will be uploaded in the Reproductive Health Supplies Coalition YouTube channel. I will send out an email with a link to the recording in a couple days. Please do not hesitate to contact me through the chat window if you have any technical difficulties or questions. And I repeat, you have all been muted and we will not open the microphones to participants. To improve your webinar experience, make sure you have headphones and that you have closed all programs so that you have enough internet bandwidth. With no more delay, let me pass the microphone to our presenters. Fiona, take it from here. Thank you.
Thank you, Milka. I hope everybody can hear me. Welcome everybody to this webinar about putting the quality into maternal health medicines. I'm Fiona Turnison. I work in the maternal health team at Concept Foundation with my colleague Fabienne Bochaton, who is also going to join us in just a moment. Henk den Besten is a consultant. He will be joining us as well. He has considerable experience working on improvements in the pharmaceutical supply chain. He was formerly head of the Partnership for Supply Management and has also worked alongside the WHO, Ministry of Foreign Affairs in the Netherlands, the World Bank, Danida, on supply chain pharmaceutical improvements, as well as heading up iPlus Solutions and IDA Foundation. We're also joined today by Rohini Kardi from McLeod Pharmaceuticals, who are a generic manufacturer with a considerable amount of experience with the WHO Prequalification Program, and Nancy Shoemaker, who is from the Medical Export Group, one of the wholesalers specializing in the supply of pharmaceuticals and medical products to healthcare development agencies. So to set the scene for just moving the slide forward. To set the scene for today's presentation, I was at the Royal College of Obstetrics and Gynecology's meeting last month, and a presentation was made by Dr. Patrick Lukulay from the United States Pharmacopeial. And I was really captured by his statement that oxytocin doesn't prevent postpartum hemorrhage, quality oxytocin does. And I think this is why we are here today, to talk about quality and why we need to talk about quality. This is what we're talking about in the agenda today. I'm going to be introducing the webinar with a discussion of why. My colleagues will then talk about the processes for ensuring medicines used are of a quality standard and that they work, and then move on to a discussion introducing the WHO Prequalification Program in some more detail as one of the steps in quality assurance of medicines, maternal health medicines. We'll also look into some quality issues in the medicines and pharmaceutical supply chain with some contributions from a manufacturer and from a wholesaler involved in these activities. So why are we talking about quality? Why do we need to talk about quality? I'm going to skip to, first of all, there is considerable high maternal mortality continuing in many parts of the world. And one of the causes of this continued high maternal mortality is the poor quality of medicine. It has been consistently demonstrated that maternal health medicines in low middle income countries are often of poor quality. And when we look at this, maternal mortality causes severe financial, economic and social impacts. And there are a couple of studies that I'm going to refer to, which were reported in a publication produced by Family Care International, A Price Too High to Bear. In Kenya, of the 59 maternal deaths studied in one study, only 15 babies survived the first 60 days. And in Ethiopia, a study demonstrated that children whose mother died within 42 days of their birth faced a 46 times greater risk of dying within 1 month when compared to those babies whose mother survived. If we think about...
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Sorry, I was interrupted. If we think about a postpartum hemorrhage example, we know that postpartum hemorrhage from uterine atony can be prevented with the administration of an effective uterotonic immediately after the baby is born. If we fail to prevent postpartum hemorrhage from uterine atony through the administration of a quality, effective uterotonic, the additional costs to the health system and to the mother can be very, very burdensome. The additional costs include things like additional drugs, the cost of blood transfusions, IV fluids and all of the equipment that is required to give an IV fluids, the costs of surgery and additional hospital stays. So we need to continue to focus on all of the elements to improve maternal health, but one of those elements is focusing on improving the quality of medicine. So there have been a number of studies highlighting quality problems in maternal health medicines, and I'm only going to highlight here just a few of those recent studies. A study in India in 2014 showed that oxytocin ampules found that were outside of the manufacturer specifications, 40% of those sampled in Karnataka, 50% in Uttar Pradesh, and up to 100% of oxytocin samples tested in Hassan were found to be outside of the manufacturer specifications. Another uterotonic, methyl ogometrin ampules, were found in 54% of cases in Agra to be outside of manufacturer specifications. In Ghana in 2013, the USP conducted a study of oxytocin and ergometrin and again found 55% and 73% of samples failing assay tests. The WHO have reported similar problems in their systematic review. 45.6% of oxytocin samples failed the quality test. And again, the UN Council Commission on Life-Saving Commodities in 2015 reported that 64% of oxytocin injection samples were non-compliant. So we need to continue to talk about the quality of medicines, because it has been consistently demonstrated that maternal health medicines in many low and middle income countries are of poor quality. And continuing this trend is not only wasting money, but it is wasting lives. So just to set a bit more of the scene, what is a good quality medicine? So a good quality medicine is a medicine that contains exactly the specified amount of active ingredient needed to achieve the expected results. So that when the medicine is given to a person, the results of that medication are predictable and expected. The medicine contains only those additional compounds that are necessary to make the active ingredient usable, safe and effective. So that might be things like the addition of sterile water to a medicine so that it is injectable. Again, the addition of these additional compounds allows the medicine to work exactly the way it is supposed to and doesn't cause unexpected side effects. And a quality medicine is a medicine that contains nothing else. So there are no additional foreign substances that could cause adverse reactions or prevent the medicine from working correctly. And on the flip side of that is what is a poor quality medicine and its effects. And I'm going to use an oxytocin example here. So going back to what is a good quality, on the other side, a poor quality medicine could contain too much active ingredient. The effect of this, for an oxytocin product, could be that it may cause additional side effects or that contractions may be too strong. A poor quality oxytocin that might be a product that contains too little active ingredient to achieve the expected result. And the effect of this could be that the failure of the uterus fails to contract, the woman continues to bleed, going on to hemorrhage, potentially going on to additional surgical interventions or the use of additional drugs, and potentially even the woman's death. And a medicine, an oxytocin that contains anything other than the active ingredient and the compounds required to use it for it to be properly administered, is a medicine that could contain anything other than they are supposed to and could therefore cause serious and sometimes fatal consequences. And in addition to this, in the case of injectables, a poor quality medicine is a medicine that is not manufactured in a sterile environment. And an unsterile injectable may contain bacteria or other products that can then cause serious infections and sometimes death. So what are the causes of poor quality in medicines? There are a number of terms that are bandied about: substandard, and then 3 terms that are used to effectively mean the same thing: spurious, falsified, and counterfeit medicines. These are medicines that are, for substandard, genuine registered medicines that just simply don't meet the quality specifications. For spurious, falsified, or counterfeit, they are medicines manufactured intentionally outside of specifications for various different reasons. Other causes of poor Causes of poor quality medicines include poor manufacturing, for example, cost cutting, where manufacturers, to achieve a very low price, may use low quality or substitute ingredients, or they may substitute inappropriate packaging or labeling that is either incorrect or unsuitable for the end user. And that can come down to unsuitable for the country in terms of language or with incorrect instructions. In terms of manufacturing, using incorrect processes to manufacture a medicine can contribute to poor quality. Skipping essential processes or shortening processes to achieve reductions in the cost. Manufacturing medicines in an unsterile or unclean environment is prevalent in the pharmaceutical industry and contributes to poor quality. And poor management of organisations contributes to poor manufacturing quality. Outside of manufacturing, medicines can also degrade from the time that they leave the manufacturing premise to the time that they are actually administered to the patient, and causes that contribute to degradation of medicines are heat, moisture, light, and time, among other things. So there are a number of processes that help to ensure that a woman receives a quality maternal health medicine, and these start before the manufacturing of medicines with the development of standards for how a medicine should be manufactured, and these are stipulated in Pharmacopeias. The most recognised are the British, United States and other Pharmacopeias. They start with trials to test and demonstrate that a medicine works, that a dose is appropriate, that a method of delivery works properly, and so forth. And then we have manufacturing, and manufacturing covers both the API, the active pharmaceutical ingredient, and the finished pharmaceutical product. Sometimes this is done at the same site, and sometimes this is done at two different manufacturers. Labeling and packaging is part of the manufacture of a product and can be done again at the same site or at additional sites. All of these need to be done in accordance with standards and appropriately for the end user. After manufacturing comes assessment and certification that a product confirms with the requirements for the manufacture of that product. And Fabienne is going to talk a bit more about one process of certification and assessment of medicines in just a moment. Following that, a product needs to be registered, and this provides country-level control over the quality of medicines and the suitability of the medicines for that particular environment. There are quality controls throughout the supply chain. As a product moves from the manufacturing site through distribution to the end user, quality needs to be maintained, and my colleagues Rohini, Henk and Nancy will talk towards that in just a moment as well. There are also controls at the country level, testing and policing to ensure quality, and then correct use by healthcare professionals, which requires training, materials, equipment, supplies and resources for a medicine to be used properly. All of these steps are important in ensuring that a woman receives a quality medicine. Oops. Now, in just a second, I'm going to hand over to Fabienne, who's going to talk about the pre-qualification process, some manufacturers that we've helped to get products pre-qualified, and the type of support that is available to achieve pre-qualification. But following a recent webinar on the WHO collaborative registration procedure, we were asked if we could put together a diagram of where the collaborative registration procedure sits and the WHO pre-qualification program sits in amongst the whole quality assurance process for maternal medicines, and I've put that on the screen now for those listening in, and I'd be more than happy to discuss this in the question time. This diagram does not tell you everything about the quality assurance process, and it is simplified, and it doesn't show things like timeframes, costs, benefits and drawbacks, and nor does it suggest that if you achieve one you will automatically get another. I'm going to hand over now to Fabienne, who's going to talk about WHO pre-qualification.
Fiona and Fabienne, sorry to interrupt. It has come to my attention that people were not hearing us for the first few seconds. So I would like to just repeat that everybody has been muted and questions will be taken at the end of the webinar. And you might want to introduce each speaker as they come up on the screen, because that introduction might have been missed by our attendees. This webinar is being held under the auspices of the Maternal Health Supplies Caucus of the Reproductive Health Supplies Coalition, and I'm Milka Dinev, and I'm in charge of the technical aspect of this webinar, making sure that you are all listening and watching the webinar correctly. Please send me a message if there's any technical difficulty, and all questions will be answered at the end. The webinar is being recorded, both audio and the video. Thank you so much. Sorry for the interruption, Fabienne. Go ahead.
No problem. Good morning, good afternoon all, and thank you very much, Milka, for offering us the opportunity to share our experience with you today. First, I would like also to mention that our colleague Alessandra Tomazzini, Concept Foundation's Head of Technical Services, is also joining the webinar from Brazil and will be available at the end of the presentation for any questions. In the past 3 years, Concept Foundation was funded by the UN Commission and JPIGO under USAID Accelerate program to support manufacturers of oxytocin, misoprostol, and magnesium sulfate towards WHO pre-qualification of their products, as those drugs are considered as vital for the effective prevention and treatment of the 2 leading causes of maternal death, which are postpartum hemorrhage and preeclampsia and eclampsia. In my presentation, I will describe the process we've been through with those manufacturers. So the first step for Concept Foundation was to identify suitable manufacturers for support. And a suitable manufacturer is a company that has the technical ability to achieve WHO pre-qualification of its product. We assess this first through a questionnaire, and if the outcome of the questionnaire looked good, we planned an on-site visit during which we assessed the company's quality system, its level of compliance with WHO guideline, and its production capacity. A suitable candidate is also a company which is willing to go through WHO pre-qualification process, and it will be willing to do so because it sees that there is a market for those products. We provided some data to help them identify this, such as the business cases for oxytocin, misoprostol, and magnesium sulfate that were written by different organizations such as JPIGO and Concept Foundation. Another very important aspect for us was to make sure that the manufacturer that would engage in the process was willing to offer its products at an affordable price for the public sector of lower and middle income countries. Then, of course, we requested a firm commitment from the management of the company that they will complete the process and implement our recommendations. Finally, we assessed the level of assistance that was needed and if this was feasible within the program timelines. At the end of this identification phase, we selected 10 companies that we started supporting towards WHO pre-qualification of their products. Very briefly, what is WHO pre-qualification program? It's a UN program led by WHO that was established in 2001 to make quality priority medicines available for the benefit of those in need. It was initially created because of the HIV pandemic and the need for UN agencies to supply quality antiretroviral medicines to lower income countries. The program is limited to a certain kind of product. Eligible medicines are, for example, drugs for tuberculosis, malaria, hepatitis B and C, and magnesium sulfate, misoprostol, and oxytocin were added to the program in 2006 with other reproductive health medicines. The program provides a list of products, active pharmaceutical ingredients, APIs, and finished pharmaceutical products, FPPs, that meet WHO recommended norms and standard of quality, efficacy, and safety. The list is used to guide UN agencies for procurement decision, but it is also useful for organizations involved in bulk purchasing of medicine. And the problem that procurers face is the proliferation on the market of medicines whose quality is unknown, as they are not quality assured. So thanks to this pre-qualification program, they can rely on a list of products which comply with international standards of quality. The pre-qualification team also pre-qualifies quality control labs and provides technical assistance and training activities to regulators, manufacturers, and quality control laboratories. So the program also aims at building capacity. Now let's have a look at the process of pre-qualification. It starts with the expression of interest. The manufacturer has to submit a letter expressing its interest in participating in WHO pre-qualification procedure with a product that has been invited by WHO for evaluation in its expression of interest invitation list. The manufacturer will submit the product dossier, samples, and the site master file of each manufacturing site. WHO will then screen the information provided, and if it is complete and does not show any critical deficiencies, the dossier is accepted for assessment. The full assessment based on WHO guidelines can then start. It is undertaken by teams of experts appointed by WHO. The aim of the assessment is to evaluate if the product meets WHO's requirements in terms of quality, safety, and efficacy, and if this product is manufactured in compliance with good manufacturing practices, GMP. This is why you can see two parallel assessment charts on the flow chart. The left-hand side of the flow chart refers to the dossier assessment, which evaluates the pharmaceutical product data and information on safety, efficacy, and quality submitted by the manufacturer. And the right-hand side of the flow chart refers to the inspection of the FPP and API manufacturing sites for compliance with GMP. Depending on the product, WHO will also inspect contract research organizations, CROs, which perform clinical trials for products needing a bioequivalence study such as misoprostol, for example. Once the dossier assessment and the inspections have been finalized, the teams of assessors and inspectors will communicate the results to the manufacturer. In case of any deficiencies that were found, or if there were missing information, the manufacturer will be requested to implement corrective actions and to provide with the missing information. When the product dossier and the manufacturing sites are deemed to be acceptable, the product is pre-qualified and listed on WHO website, as well as WHO peer and PAR that you can see in the bright green boxes. So WHO peer is the public inspection report and PAR the public assessment report. The length of the procedure depends on the speed with which the manufacturer will reply to WHO questions or with which it will take corrective actions. In our experience, it lasted around 18, 20 months in average for the full process I've just described. It is also important to know that after the product is pre-qualified, it is monitored. The manufacturers will have to inform WHO of any changes in manufacturing control of the product. WHO will also take random samples for testing, will investigate any complaints reported on the product, will regularly reinspect the manufacturers to verify compliance with GMP, and at least every 5 years the product will have to be requalified. And if it is found that the product and or the manufacturing site doesn't comply anymore with WHO recommended standards, the product and the manufacturing site will be suspended or removed from the list of WHO. You will find detailed guidance and information on the PQ procedure, the list of eligible products for the program, the guidelines applied by WHO, and the requirement to be met on WHO's website under the Prequalification of Medicines program pages. The procedure I've just described is the full process, but it also exists an abbreviated procedure which was specifically designed for products that have already been assessed and approved by stringent regulatory authorities, SRAs. Since WHO recognizes the evaluation of SRAs as they apply standards for quality that are equivalent to those recommended by WHO. So in this case, the procedure is much shorter, and WHO will base its evaluation on the product assessment and manufacturing facility inspections undertaken by the SRA. In brief, a WHO pre-qualified product is a medicine that complies with international standards of quality, safety, and efficacy. It's a medicine whose quality, safety, and efficacy is maintained over time through regular assessments. It's a medicine that serves the needs of lower and middle-income countries, as WHO Prequalification Program focuses on essential medicines, which are those that satisfy the priority health care of the population. And the program also takes into consideration specific temperatures. Manufacturer will have to conduct stability studies that will prove that the product remains in compliance with the specification during the whole shelf life in the climatic zone where the temperatures and percentage of humidity are the highest, which is climatic zone 4B, in which many lower and middle income countries are located. Another important point to mention is that WHO pre-qualification is not a marketing authorization, so manufacturers of WHO pre-qualified products will have to register their medicines in each country they want to serve. But the advantage of WHO pre-qualified products is that they can participate in WHO collaborative registration procedure, which aims at registering the product in the countries that signed the agreement in 90 days, which is very short. A WHO pre-qualified product is also a medicine that can participate in more tenders, such as international tenders, donor-sponsored tenders. Finally, as mentioned earlier, as part of Concept Foundation selection process, we sensitize the manufacturer to the price issues to make sure that they offer the quality assured product at an affordable price for the public sector of lower and middle income countries. At the moment, there is one WHO pre-qualified oxytocin, that of JSC Grindex Latvia. There is also one company with a dossier under assessment, and one company also that is supported that will submit its dossier shortly. In terms of misoprostol, there are 4 WHO pre-qualified products, those of Line Pharma International in UK, Cipla Limited in India, China Resources Diju Pharmaceutical in China, and Acme Formulation in India. In terms of magnesium sulfate products, one is WHO pre-qualified, the product from Resars and Mittel in Germany, and 3 other companies have their dossier under assessment. There are also 2 ERP recommended products, those of JSC Cassette Latvia, which is part of Grindex Group, and Demo in Greece. Thank you for your attention. I'm now giving the floor to Hank.
Hank, you online?
You need to unmute your microphone.
Hank, please unmute yourself. Hank doesn't have a PowerPoint, so he will just be talking to us. And Hank, we need you to unmute yourself. Just click on the microphone, please. We can then go to Nancy or Rohini. Which one of you we're going to present first? Rohini, is that you?
Maybe I can.
You can start, Rohini. Let me make you a presenter. Now we will be able to see your screen.
Yeah.
I think we've lost Hank, so please introduce yourself. We are not seeing your screen yet, so let's wait a little bit.
So is it me who has to open the presentation,
Right,
or someone
where it
from your
says
side
show
will be open?
screen, you have to show your screen. You're now the presenter, so you can now show your screen.
Okay.
Okay, it's waiting to view. All right, your presentation is up.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Hello everyone. Yeah, I can start, right?
You can start now. Make sure you put your presentation in the big screen underneath. Show us slides. We are seeing all the presentation. You want to show the slides, right? Right. Good. We can see it perfectly now.
Okay, thank you. Okay, hello everyone. This is Rohini Kardi from McLeod Pharmaceuticals. And today I'll be giving a short presentation on what McLeod is doing in maternal, newborn, and and child health products. So McLeod has always focused on supplying quality medicines to the patients across the globe. McLeod is focusing on broadening their product base in maternal, newborn and child health category as well, apart from other essential medicines like anti-TB, ARV and ACTs. So today I'll be talking a bit about zinc 20 mg dispersible tablet, in which we have been successful in obtaining the WHO pre-qualification. So we received the WHO pre-qualification of this product 4 months back, that is in December. Our product has acceptable shelf life of 36 months approved and is suitable for storage in worldwide acceptable zone, that is of 4B. McLeod has always focused on getting the products registered in the low and middle income countries and wherever the need is for the product. So currently we have been successful in obtaining the registration in 2 countries, that is Madagascar and Kenya. Our product under WHO collaborative scheme is under registration in Nigeria as well as in DR Congo. And apart from that, we have been working on registering our products in 16 more countries in next 2 months' time, out of which 7 countries we will be filing under WHO collaborative scheme. So far we have identified these countries and our search is on to find more countries wherever we can file the product. The challenges which we have faced so far in getting our products registered in these countries are unavailability of reliable agents for dossier filing. And to name a few countries like Bangladesh, Cuba, Mauritania, Guinea. We do wish to file our products, but then in these countries, any help in getting a reliable agent will be welcome. So for the procurement or any issues regarding this product or the registration of this product, the main focal point at McLeod's will be these 3, which is showing on the screen. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Rohini, for your presentation. I think we have now recovered Hank. So Hank, the microphone is open. Please go in. That's okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hank.
I didn't understand what happened, but I couldn't get unmuted, at least not at my screen, but happy to be back. Thanks for the lengthy introduction, which you exchanged earlier. Like you told, after having worked for about 6 years at the PEPFAR project, I started up consultancy work, working on access to pharmaceutical products, mainly on malaria, but also working on some products MCH related. And the 2 ladies who are presenting, some of the practical hurdles which might be experienced during after the phase of having a quality product and bringing it to the market are Rohini Kardi from McLeod's and Nancy Schumacher from Medical Expert Group, which both organizations have been a client of Coachman Consultancy during the last 6 to 8 months. We are working very much on the quality of the product, but assuring access, it's also the capacity, and that was also clearly explained in the Concept Foundation presentation, but also, I mean, ensuring that the companies who are having a good product do understand the markets, the market requirements, and do, I mean, find a way to bring the products which have a proven quality to the market. So that's all I have to say today. I think the voice and the wording of both Rohini and Nancy are certainly more elegant in terms of the tone than my low voice, which because I have a slight cold today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Henk. So Nancy, you are now the presenter and ready to go. Just make sure you show your screen. Yeah, we can see your screen now. And we need to see your presentation. And Nancy, you need to open your microphone as well. Nancy, you need to open your microphone. Yep, okay.
Yes, hello.
Hello, now your microphone.
Can you hear me right now?
Very well. We can hear you very well.
Perfect.
It's perfect,
okay.
But we now need to see your presentation. We can see your screen, but not the presentation.
Okay, then I have to open the presentation.
That's right. Right. Good. PowerPoint.
So, okay.
I can see your presentation now. Very well. Thank you, Nancy. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much. So, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Nancy Schoenmaker, and I'm the head of procurement of MEG, Medical Export Group. The Medical Export Group is a global player in the international community for public health. And in our sourcing approach, we focused on 4 MCH products, known as magnesium sulfate, oxytocin, zinc dispersible tablets, and chlorhexidine. MEG strives for products with high quality standards, meeting the international criteria, like WHO PQ or SRA approved products. And generally speaking, we can say that it is always a challenge to find products that meet such international criteria. If you succeed in finding this, then often suppliers have the WHO PQ status, but for example, they don't have the experience with exporting the goods to targeted countries and or have no experience of product registration in destination countries. MEG has identified for MCH products countries like Nigeria, Malawi, Madagascar, Mozambique, Zambia as target countries for product registration. If we do not succeed in finding WHO PQ or SRA sources, then we do apply the in-house quality system. In such cases, our quality auditor performs a GDP inspection to ensure that products do meet MEG's quality standards. And I must emphasize that this is a temporary solution, as we always persuade manufacturers to join the WHO PQ program. MEG's role is to increase access by having conversations about important criteria, such as shelf life. We always request our suppliers to perform lifetime stability studies that shelf life can be extended where possible. Then storage conditions. We always strive to stability studies of zone 4. Then we have quality qualification. Which quality qualification do they have and what is the status of registration in target countries? We provide support to manufacturers by guiding them in the in-country registration and or in cases of WHO PQ products, how best they could make use of fast-track registration opportunities. And another important criteria is the labeling and insert of products. We always try to have English labeling, but prefer to have trilingual labeling and package insert. In some cases, we advise the manufacturer to use colors and or symbols to increase the understanding of use. So then I would like to look to a certain product, which is magnesium sulfate from the supplier Inreza. So although Inreza obtained the PQ status for magnesium sulfate, the company had little experience in exporting and their labeling was only in the English language. So MEG advised Inreza to develop a 4-lingual artwork. You can see the result here in the screen. You now see that there is a 4-language on the labeling. More actions we are currently working on are the extension of shelf life and registration in target countries. These actions lead to better access of quality medicines in target countries. So the next slide is for Oxytocin. The manufacturer of Oxytocin is planning to submit their WHO PQ dossier soon. So MEG guides the manufacturer to work on a bilingual label and artwork, extension of shelf life, and registration in target countries. These actions, once completed, leads again to better access of quality medicines. Then we have the chlorhexidine from the supplier RN Laboratories. So RN Labs developed this product and MEG advised and guides RN Labs to prepare for filling PQ dossiers in the future. At the moment, RN Labs does not have a registration and they only have English labeling and artwork. So again, actions for the near future are registration in target countries and bilingual label and artwork. So the next product is the zinc sulfate, but we are doing this in collaboration with McLeod, and Rohini already explained that. So finally, we would like to emphasize that PQ, the WHO PQ, it's not the final step. MEG is focusing on these 4 products as a pilot to increase access to MCH products. Once we made process in our collaboration with suppliers, we can expand the list of MCH products in the future. So here you see my contact details. So in case you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Nancy, for your presentation. Thank you so much. So now we will start the question and answer period. Please, presenters, open your microphones so you can answer the questions. We will give a few seconds to our attendees to write down their questions. Let me go to questions. Okay, I don't see any questions yet. Okay. So let's start with one question. I always have the first question. So Fiona, can you explain to our audience why pre-qualification is important? Why, if products are already registered in country, why isn't that enough? Why we need pre-qualification?
So I think I'll put some comments around this, and if anyone of the other presenters wants to add something, please feel free. I think pre-qualification is important where a regulatory authority in a country is not competent enough to ensure that the medicines coming into their country are of a high quality and are going to do the job that they are supposed to do. And I couldn't give you the exact details of the study, but I know that the WHO has identified that a large number of regulatory authorities in countries are not capable, do not have the resources and the skills to conduct quality assurance of every medicine that comes into their country. And this is the value of having a procedure like the WHO pre-qualification program for essential medicines, is to provide a level of assurance for a certain number of medicines that these are quality medicines, that they are manufactured in accordance with quality guidelines and standards, and that they will do the job that they are supposed to do. So in an ideal world, medicines registered in countries would all be of high quality, but that is simply not the case. So if anyone else would like to add on to that comment, please feel free. Are there any other questions?
There is one question here from Francisco Rossi. There are some accredited regulatory agencies in Latin America, such as Mexico, Cuba, Colombia, Chile, Argentina, and Brazil. That means that they can certify that all medicines fulfill international standards. Can they replace the pre-qualification of WHO?
I would like it if she is online for Alessandra Tomazzini to respond to that. She is from Brazil and knows the system very well.
Yes, I'm speaking now from São Paulo. Unfortunately not. The Latin America and South American agencies are not SRE agencies, so we cannot fulfill the requirements to be used as alternative for the WHO PQ process or SRE process.
Alessandra, we understand that the agencies in Latin America are not SRAs. However, some of them, especially the one in Mexico and Brazil, they're quite, their standards are quite high. So don't you think they could replace pre-qualification of WHO?
It's not officially accepted.
Not officially.
Anvisa is now also part of ICH, but it is still not considered to replace PQ process. At this moment, only few countries are recognized for that.
Okay, thank you, Alessandra, and thank you, Fiona. I have a couple questions from Edward Wilson. Edward says, one of the challenges with pre-qualified products we have seen is demand creation. So suppliers get orders that justify their investment. What is being done in the way of demand creation? Anyone?
Okay, so this is Fiona. I will put in just a very short comment. This is definitely a comment that manufacturers come back to us with on a regular basis. And one of the projects that the RHSC is funding Concept Foundation to do is a project that we are conducting in Ethiopia to work with the Ethiopian government, Ministry of Health, and a number of players in the country to actually discuss the reasons that countries are not procuring WHO pre-qualified products. Why are they continuing to procure cheaper, unquality assured products, and try to work with them to identify how we can improve their awareness of quality issues and how we can assist in the creation of demand generation. It's going to take a lot of activities like that. That's just one activity that we're doing. I'm also working on some work in India around developing a greater awareness of the cost associated with poor quality medicines, and that will be some information that we hope to deliver in the future, but it's not yet available. So I think, we need to work in a number of levels, and this is an issue that we recognise. So it's a call out to all organisations to work in this area.
I have a question from Moussa Mbao. Allez-vous traduire ce webinaire en français? I'm very sorry, Moussa. We don't have plans to translate this webinar in French. It's the whole webinar is being recorded, and you will have access to the webinar in English in our website. However, I will speak with my colleague who coordinates SECONAF and see if we could do a similar webinar in in French, and hopefully also in Spanish for my LAC forum. So keep tuned. We will let you know. Another question from Jeffrey Jacobs. How many countries require WHO pre-qualification for the procurement of maternal health commodities? Do you believe this number will increase?
Jeff, I'm sorry, I can't answer that question. I don't know. Does anyone have a response?
I know that in Latin America, no country has ever done a tender. I mean, for institutional purchases, Ministry of Health purchases, it's never been a requirement to be WHO pre-qualified. At least in LAC, I've never seen that requirement in tenders, in public tenders. I'm not sure about the rest of the world, but in my part of the world, never been a requirement.
Can I just make a comment, not related to that specific question? For Musa, if he has specific questions related to this webinar, he is welcome to send them to Concept Foundation. You can find our contact details on the Concept Foundation website in French, and we can respond to them.
Wonderful. I don't see any more questions coming in. It's we've passed the hour. So really I have no words to thank you guys, Fiona, Fabienne, Henk, Nancy, Rohini, and Alessandra, for being panelists today and for doing this webinar. As I said before, this webinar has been recorded, and you will find the recording in the Reproductive Health Supplies Coalition website. So thank you all very much, and all the best to you, and continue doing quality work. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye for now.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much. All the
Bye.
best.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone. Yeah.
Bye-bye.